Hi, everybody, and welcome to GenFriends. I'm your host, Cheri Hudson Passey from Carolina Girl Genealogy. And with me tonight, not only do we have this fabulous panel, but we have our special guest who I will, although you guys can already tell who it is, but I will introduce her in a minute. We've got Mary Kircher Roddy from MKR Genealogy. Hi, Mary.
Hi there.
You and your quilt, your beautiful quilt. I'm so glad that you're here tonight. Melissa Barker, our archive lady, is here. Hi, Melissa.
Hello, everyone.
With her archive in the background. And we've got, who do we have? We have Laura Hedgecock from Treasure Chest of Memories. Dan likes it when I say that. He always introduces Laura as Laura Hedgecock, Treasure Chest of Memories.
Hi.
Hi. And then we have Dan Earl, our family history guy. Hey, Dan.
Hello.
It's good to have you. Now, guys, we have straight from relative race and straight from that challenge. She's looking good after that challenge.
She is.
She's looking really good. We've got from Team Green. We have got Monika down there in Hilton Head. I'm so jealous, running her pirate boat. So I'm gonna have to take that trek down there. It's about 2.5 hours, 2.5, maybe 3, something like that for Myrtle to get down there and go ride that pirate boat. But we are so glad that you can join us tonight.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here with you guys. I watch them religiously, so now I get to be a part of it.
That makes us so happy. Like, somebody watches the show. And one of the team members, that makes it even more special. So, oh my gosh, day 10. Are you kidding me?
That was crazy.
That was absolutely crazy. Let me tell you, I mean, it's bad enough that you had to saw the logs. And the archery probably wasn't horrible.
We didn't even get to the sawing part. So just, I mean, you guys saw that,
well,
right? We didn't even get there.
I know, but I'm just talking the axe and all that stuff. And I was just watching that going, oh my gosh, where's the mental stuff? Because I wouldn't have done very well in any of those. And I'm always saying, oh, that looks so good for a family reunion. But
none of those did.
No. None of those looked. And we've
The
got
archery one, maybe.
look at this. We've got one more guest coming on.
Hey, Kacey.
It's Kacey.
Casey.
In the car. Are you on relative race?
She never got out of the car.
Still finding relatives.
No, you're right. It never stops. So I had to run some errands today, so I figured I'd just do that while driving.
Look at you. All righty.
I'm a mess.
No. Like I told you, we are very laid back. We are very,
Yes.
yeah. We had just started talking to Monika about that crazy challenge. Not even day 10. I mean, really?
It was crazy. The whole thing was crazy. I just was like, thank goodness I had Sean, because he's just this big, strong, burly man. And I'm like, okay, you get to do the climbing stuff, because there's no way.
Well, and of course he was able to just pop the log in half. See, that's what you should have done, Monika.
Yeah.
Just picked up that log.
Yeah, he saw we were like, close behind. And he was just like, and just ripped it in half. And I was just like, oh my gosh.
Oh, that was just, I mean, what were you guys thinking? I mean, what were you expecting? Did they tell you what to expect?
No. After we found out, who was going home, they were just like, check your coordinates, by the way, here's where you're going.
Yeah.
And that's all we know. And
and you show up in
it was
Colorado.
a wild ride for sure.
So I'm sure they flew you, Monika. They flew you guys to Colorado. You didn't have to drive.
So Kacey, you were in Tennessee, right? So she flew, and then Red Team flew because they were in Pennsylvania. But we were in Lincoln, Nebraska, which was like 7 hours. So we road tripped it with our producer, which was super fun, actually. And then we met Kacey and Sean outside the hotel for like the first time ever.
Oh my gosh,
together.
That was
the first time ever. That was the first time you'd seen each other.
Well, met like in person.
I mean, in person. That's what I mean. That was the first time.
Wow.
Yeah, they didn't meet each other before the race. So
Well, I thought
What fun,
maybe
though.
briefly you had, because that is so sad because the other seasons they've been able to do that. So
I think honestly, it might have been my fault because we were casted like 3 weeks in advance. So I don't think they could coordinate that with the other teams so quickly.
okay. And with COVID and everything. Goodness gracious. Wow.
So how much time did they give you to, once you got there, to get ready for or was it the next day was the big challenge day?
Next day.
Okay.
Yeah, it was next day.
Yeah.
It was like, one time we have to get up. I think I got up at we had to be ready to go and have breakfast and everything.
Uh-oh.
I can finish that for her.
Okay.
I think we had to be
crazy.
Yeah, I think we had to be in the lobby at like 5:15.
Oh gosh.
Oh, man.
Because Dan did say that it was sunrise. He meant it.
It was.
He meant it. So it did take all day till sunset to get that done.
It was the longest day of filming for me anyway.
Oh,
About
bet.
16 hours maybe.
Wow.
Monika, you looked very trying to think you looked very stressed during that.
Yes,
was it
you
because
did.
you saw saw how physical things were, how everything was being laid out very physically, or
I felt a little frustrated, full disclosure, because I did not feel like there was any mental equalizers. And with two women, on a team versus a college football player and Paul Bunyan over there, black team. I was like, we're not gonna have a shot here. You know what I mean? Like maybe at the camping and maybe at the archery, right? But these other things that require like brute strength, I'm like, this isn't happening.
Right. And what if I don't know if they talked about any of this at all. I mean, what if Joe and Anthony had made it to Daytona?
Oh yeah, that's the first thing I thought of.
That's me too. I was like, what would have happened?
What would happen? I don't know.
I think that
I do know.
I think that they wanted. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, I do know that like some people got upset after day 9 in that challenge that they had. And I do know, like in defensive relative race, that they do plan this stuff.
Oh, sure.
Before they even cast people. You know what I mean? So it has no effect on like.
Right.
They didn't know this was going to be who they cast, and that Joe would have a hard time getting over those.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like in defense of them, I felt bad for them though doing that challenge. Like that was not easy for them.
But we had them on and talked to them, and we asked them what their favorite challenge was, and Anthony said that one. Joe looks at him,
but Joe said it was his least favorite.
Yes. So they're not. I mean, they didn't act bitter and upset about the challenge or anything, and so I think they handled it quite well. So. Now there was a little rivalry going on. I think it's interesting that we've got
between you two teams.
Your two teams. Which really I think got blown up in just craziness.
It get really blown up. I mean, I am very competitive and I'm very, a lot of my like head bob and stuff, that's just like me like being silly.
Sure.
But I think if you don't know me, like a lot of people were like, oh my gosh, like how dare she, and stuff. And it's easier to look at everyone as competitors instead of friends when you haven't met them yet.
Oh, exactly.
So it was like really easy for me to like get in game mode,
Yeah.
But a lot of because they do like a lot of takes over and over again for like the cutout, like the cutaways. And it's like I think our producer really liked kind of the sassy side of me. So, she kept being like, okay, say this over and over and over and over and over again. And I'm like, okay. And then they end up like taking like 90% of the show is just me. Like I was dying because it was like the one day, Monika, you were baking cookies with Marge, and it was like, all happy and stuff. And then it turns to like me and Sean, and I'm like, GenFriends going down.
I know.
But it's all in fun. So we really do like each other in person, so it's fine.
Well, and I'm sure there's a lot of stress. I mean, you're not sleeping, you're away from your family, there's a lot going on. And so any of us could have those moments.
That whole phone box, that they legit do not give you anything. And so your anyone at home, you're not contacting, and you're just, it is stressful. Like you're on the road for 12 hours, you're doing these challenges, you're meeting all these new people. That's like so hard to process to begin with. You're like, oh my gosh, I just met my sister, or I just met my mom. But it's like, it all happens so quick that you're not really emotionally processing it all either.
Sure.
So it's a lot.
And how do you go to sleep at night when you just met your mother? I mean, that's
it's hard. Yeah. I mean, you meet these people and your mind is just, because you go from knowing nothing your entire life, for 30 plus years to, in less than 10 days, you find that you have all these relatives and like your entire world is just turned upside down. And it's just like, it's like, like, how do you go to bed? Like, and it's just like, but then you just have to be like, okay, I love you. We'll spend time together like after the show, but
gotta go now.
Midnight. I gotta get up at 5 a.m. So I love you. Good night. Like, I don't know what do you do? You just, if I could, I would have stayed like multiple days with every relative and just, actually spent real time with them. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I'm sure Monika feels the same way. And we've talked about that a lot as we've covered each of the seasons, that must be the hardest part is to move on after meeting somebody, especially somebody that close, your biological mom. I mean, bye mom, I'm going now.
Bye mom.
It just has got to be so hard. So go ahead, Laura.
Dan needs to ask each of these ladies his question that he asked the boys last night.
Do you remember what you asked last night?
I do remember what I asked last night.
An African swallow.
Just last night. Yeah, not the what's the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow. Nobody, neither of you, no one African or European. Great. Way to leave that joke hanging.
Yeah, sorry.
Right. We're not going to encourage you.
You're not going to encourage me quoting Monty Python. That's fine. All right. So my question that we asked Joe and Anthony last night is, you both had really emotional moments on the show that brought all of us as viewers to tears. And I'm sure there were dozens of more moments like that just didn't make it onto the camera. So what is, for each of you, that moment that is going to be etched into your minds forever, that you could just play on repeat for the rest of your lives, and will just be just as vivid 50 years from now as it is today?
I have one, but I'm gonna try and think of another one too. You can go first, Kacey, if you want.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. For me, I mean, there's a ton of moments. But in terms of like emotional, like, like heartfelt, that kind of thing, I would have to say, if it's a serious moment, it would have to have been the moment that my sister Robin decided to read me that letter. I was a wreck. The camera didn't even like do it justice. I was literally like, and I don't cry, and I cried like the most I've ever cried in like my entire life in those like 10 days. but like for real, because like growing up, like I knew as a little kid, like my mom started around age 2-3 telling me like bedtime stories of how I was adopted to try and like make me feel special.
Yeah.
And I remember, I was probably in like 1st or 2nd grade, and it was a close adoption, and supposedly my mom never knew anything. My adoptive mother. Well, then she one night told me my story, because I was like, tell me my story of how I was adopted, And then she told me the story, and then she came back in my room, and she would just like, I remember she stood over me and she said, just so you know, you have a little sister that your mom had, and she kept her. And then I was just like, and like, that's all she said. I don't know if my mom just didn't know how to process it or like how to tell me. So she just like flat out told me. And so that was the only connection that I had. In like, I didn't know her name or anything. I just knew that somewhere out there I had a little sister, and I always wondered my entire life, like, does she think about me? Does she even know I exist? You know, this, that, and the other thing. Like, I wonder how she grew up. And then it's like, oh, hey, by the way, I have this time capsule of a letter that I wrote to you, you know, and it just like, I just lost it. Like, I'm probably going to start crying while driving. Great. Like, you know, but it's just like, I just, yeah, like that. And like every once in a while I'll get it out, like read it again and start sobbing. It's just like, you know, it's like, even though we didn't grow up together, we both thought about each other often. And it just, oh my gosh, it was like mind blowing. So I'll definitely remember that forever.
That was a beautiful moment, and it made all of us cry too.
Yeah.
And then the kind of the sobby, ugly tears too. Yeah. Monika, what is yours, or your one or two?
So I'm going to mention two, and one of them was not on air, and it's from last night that they didn't put in, so I'm excited to share with you guys. But the first one, which I don't think that they really showed my full extent of crying either, like you said, Kacey, was with my biological mom. So she pulled out, I think you guys saw the whole like photo album that she was showing me, but the thing that made me like ugly Oprah cry, I was just like bawling. She showed me a post from 2000, it would have been 18 when I turned 30. And it said like, I thought about you the last 30 years and I've never, like, I don't know if they fully showed that whole sequence really.
Probably not a whole, but they did show part of it. Yeah.
And then she literally printed out like the Facebook post and it said 2018. So, and that was some of my biggest like wonders, like, did they think about me? Did they care about me? And she, like, that post, I was just bawling, like just bawling. I knew that like my whole life she was thinking about me then. And it just meant a lot. So that was like a huge moment for me. And then what they didn't show, I'm like super excited to tell you guys about this.
Okay.
So
we get a scoop, guys. We get a scoop.
Well, I'm like shocked that they didn't put it in, to be honest. So Chile camps, the place where we did our entire 4 challenges. My adoptive parents, my dad was a camp counselor there for 8 summers.
What?
In the late 70s, in the early 80s, that was his like summer job. He was a teacher, but he was a camp counselor there in the summers. And so that's how he met my adoptive mom. Like they met there.
Wow.
Like, I'm not even joking. They met there. And then 3 months later, they got engaged, like in Estes Park at that exact camp. Like, and the chances that like, y'all, like, we don't know where we're going. No one knows where we're going. You know what I mean? No one knows anything.
Yeah.
Chances that, number one, we're in that state to begin with. I mean, there's 48 states they could go to, really.
Right.
So the chances that we're in that state, that we're in that city, and that we're in that exact camp.
That's amazing.
Nothing. And so, like, for it to come full circle like that, like, that's where my adoptive parents met. And, like, you know, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, like, you know, being with them anyway. And so, like, just shocking. Absolutely.
You should have gotten a badge for best story for that.
Yes, quick thing. So like the day before, we rolled in at maybe like 3 o'clock and we were having lunch with our producer. It was Meg and I and our producer, Darren. And I'm like, hey, Darren, I think my parents met here because we don't have a phone. You know, we don't have anything. Can you text my mom if she met my dad here? I was like, I think it was here. And so he texted, and, you know, I know nothing at this point because I don't know where we're going. And my parents are like, yeah, I didn't know this, by the way, I'm prefacing this. He texted my adoptive mom, like, yeah, we're in Estes Park. Did you guys meet here? And I found this out after, but she texted him back and was like, yeah, we met at Chile camp. And Darren was like, you realize that's where we're doing our entire day 10 at Chile camp. Like,
that is amazing.
Wild.
That is amazing. I'm really surprised they didn't show that. Maybe they thought somebody would think you had an advantage.
and
if they told her about the log, she would have, but you know.
So I decided to wait till after this, but I'm going to post at some point on like fans.
That'd be great.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think so too.
That is amazing. Did you let the other teams know? Is Kacey just finding this out now?
Oh yeah, no, I knew. I most definitely knew. Yeah, we were all pulling in, like we all got in the van and we climbed in, and like, you know, we had all just met the night before, like, you know, us and Megan and Monika, we you know, we grabbed dinner together and stuff and spent time together. And then, you know, so it's like, we freshly knew each other, and then all of a sudden I just hear her sobbing in the back of the van, and I turn my head and she's like, oh, you know, just sobbing. I'm like, oh my gosh, what happened? Like, what's going on? Like, and then she's like, my parents got them back here. And yeah, I love that story though. That was a really good memory actually. I think it's very heartfelt and loving.
Oh yes.
I could just see in her face how much it meant, you know.
Yeah. I mean, really, what are the chances? That's amazing.
Yeah. So I took a picture with the director of the camp he was on site, you know, because obviously basically took over his camp for the day.
Gosh.
And then, so that was the same director of the camp when my dad was there in the 80s. So it was
Oh, wow.
it was so cool. It was really cool.
That's amazing. Well, thank you for sharing
amazing.
that with us. That's wonderful. Laura, you said you had a follow-up question?
Yeah,
Or did you already follow up?
question.
Okay.
No. A follow-up question is, I know you both got into the relative race with questions. And I was just wondering if you were able to have all your questions answered, and what answer gave you the biggest lift, I guess I would say, you know, from the things you always wondered. I think I know you both, I think everybody said it was good to know that they were thought about, that, you know, they were in people's consciousness, but what questions did you get answered?
I'll go first. So I did know a good amount of stuff prior to going on the show. I think they kind of alluded to that. I did know that I had an older sibling and younger siblings. And so that had always bothered me because I didn't know the story behind it. I had no idea what the story was, but deep down, I felt like, you know, it really played into mental health. I'm a big advocate for mental health. And it really did like play into that for me, played into like abandonment, or like, am I enough? Why was I given up for adoption or replaced for adoption, or whatever the right terminology is? Why was I placed for adoption when they weren't, you know? And I didn't know that story. And that was a big answer I think I got, which basically my birth mother, like, she had a really rough life with her mother. They didn't really allude to that a whole lot, but she had a really rough upbringing. And she did not want to repeat the cycle, basically. And so when she had Katie first, and then when she got pregnant with me, she knew she wasn't going to be able to support both of us the way that she wanted, and she didn't want to you know, repeat the cycle. Like, she was given flour and water to eat sometimes as a kid because they just didn't have money, and they just like, it was just really bad spot they were in, you know?
Right.
So she did not want to repeat that cycle. And so the biggest thing was like, it was all for the betterment of my life. And it was so selfless, and the whole thing. And to know that, like, I didn't know the story before, and to figure all that out, like, and then she said when she got pregnant with the twins, she didn't know it was twins at first, you know, because it was the 1990 or something. And she said she just couldn't do it again. She couldn't do it again. She said she would have broke, like she would have broke if she were to give another child for adoption. So that's why she kept the twins. But like, it all just made sense. It all clicked. And I'm really, really thankful for the life that I had, because you guys got to meet my awesome adoptive parents on episode 4, and they are like angels. They're like Disney characters. They're really the best. They're the best people ever. So I think I got like a really good hand in life, and I'm so happy to like have met them now, because now they're part of my life too. So
that was beautiful. What about you, Kacey?
Yeah.
That's really hard to follow up. Yeah, okay, so the question was what again? Like, what questions did I have answered?
Yes.
So for me, my biggest question was always, you know, you know, it was the why. It was a lot like Monika's, like, why was I giving up? Like, I thought maybe it was because she didn't want me. My adoptive parents always told me that it was kind of like a bad situation. But my parents never elaborated on it. And I don't know if they just didn't even know. But I actually found out, well, they wouldn't put my father on. I'm going to stay outside because it's too dark in my car now. I'm at our garden center. So anyways, they wouldn't put my father on the show. I didn't know anything about my dad, but he had a criminal record.
Wow.
And yeah, so they didn't want to put him on, which I totally understand that. But I actually, like, you know, I was like, okay, how many siblings are there? Like, was I wanted? Was I loved? That kind of stuff. My mom answered that, you know, I was definitely loved. You know, she was 19 and homeless. She did not want to give me up. And so, you know, I think she had a lot of people kind of intervene in her life and kind of be like, okay, like, this would be the best idea for Kacey. Like, you know, it's not good to live on the streets, you know? So she eventually did give me up. And the caseworker that she was working with, you know, she took me in. I don't know how, I was 9 months when I was adopted. So I don't know if she took me in when I was 9 months or like how that worked. Cause, I mean, she has photos of me at like 5-6 months old, which is really cool to see. But yeah, she handed me over to the caseworkers and was like, please give her to a good home. And they called up my parents that I have now. And I had the greatest life ever. And then, yeah, my dad ended up, there's 13 of us. My dad has 13 known children 13. And he did not raise any of them.
Oh my goodness.
Wow.
So yeah. So, that was another thing is, yeah, I have like 1 million siblings now. Yeah, so it's kind of cool to see, you know, and just to see like how similar, you know, the similarities and those kind of questions, like, do I look like them? Do I act like them? You know, do we have the same favorite color? You know,
we have the same red hair.
Yeah, we all have red hair. Yep. Yeah, and yeah, so there's 12 of us on my dad's side, and then I have my little sister Robin and my little brother Christopher. So that's what, 12, 14, and then I grew up with an older brother and younger brother. So I have like more family than I can even imagine. But I'm like, yeah, so yeah, it was the best case scenario all the way around, and that's all I could ask for.
Oh.
Have you met all your siblings on your dad's side?
I have not. I've met, well, yeah, I've met a couple other ones that were not a part of the show. But our age range is like, I think the oldest, she's like 42, and the youngest is like 12.
Oh my goodness.
Oh wow.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. And so actually my brother Mitchell was the one, because I'm like, yeah, let's get together and stuff, but like a lot of you know, the moms don't want anything to do with you know, anyone from my father's side. So maybe someday if they want to reach out, that'd be really cool. But you know,
did the show find people for either one of you that you just didn't get to meet for one reason or another? They couldn't be on camera, or yeah.
I have a pretty good relationship now with my birth father's sister, so my aunt.
Oh, good. Okay.
And there was no one from my dad's side.
Yeah.
And because he never wanted children, and he ended up with 3 of them. But anyway, so his sister, Darren, my producer, was able to get her information, and I forget for one reason or another, she couldn't partake in the show, but she was really interested in talking to me. So I called her probably like a month after the show. And our first conversation was like 2 hours. Like,
oh, wow.
it was really good.
Wow.
And so she's super, super, super sweet. And she's like always reaches out and she's like, I'm going to be down. We're going to go to Florida, but I want to stop by you. I don't know. She's always trying to plan up a way to come. We haven't met in person yet, but because she's in New York. So, but we talk a lot. So it was kind of cool.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
And Kacey, who did they find for you that you?
Oh, geez.
That wasn't
well,
or all your siblings.
There's like hundreds of us, like literally. There's hundreds of us. They have a annual family reunion for the Miller side of the family, and every year there's over 100 people every year, and like you don't know any of them. So, yeah, it's insane. So, I don't know if you remember the day that I met my Aunt Jen. That was the quartet.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
She invited us to her wedding, and the wedding was like. Yeah, it was like the week after we got back from relative race. And I met my dad there and his 35-year-old girlfriend. Okay. My 62-year-old dad has a 35-year-old girlfriend. Yeah, so that was fun. But yeah, no, I met my dad there for the first time. I met my grandfather and his wife. And I met my grandmother. I met other aunts and uncles, like my Aunt Cheri. She wasn't on the show, but I met them. I met my cousins. I met, it's been a lot to process, but yeah, I met my brother, Dustin. And I haven't met Donnie yet, but there's like a bunch of them. Like, I just met some people and they're like, hi, I'm your, second cousin twice removed. And this, I'm like, okay, good to know. I'm not gonna remember your name though, but cool. So yeah, I met a ton of people like right after, and quite a few of us do still stay in contact.
I know that's a question everybody always wants to ask is, are you still keeping in contact? But yeah.
But how do you process that? I mean, that's a major change in your life. How do you process all that?
Well, for me, I'm a chatterbox, so I just talk all the time, and I just tell everyone, "Hey, my name's Kacey. I was on a TV show and I met all my relatives." But yeah, it's very mind blowing. To go from knowing nothing to knowing like everything in such a short period. I'm still processing that.
Yeah. What about you, Monika? How are you processing all of this?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm just being like kind to myself and slow, and I'm not forcing anything. Like, I'm just, I'm not saying, oh, Monika, you have to be in this part of your relationship with someone by this date or whatever.
Right.
Like, it's gonna be how it's gonna be. My brother and sister Kyle and Crystal came down to Hilton Head in early March.
Aww.
That was really fun. We spent like the weekend together. So that was good. That was really good. That was, the time when we got to connect more and like off camera, because, I think you guys know this by now by doing this so long, but like, it's, you roll into the relatives at what, I don't know, between 2 and 4, and the film crew's there till like 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
So the actual hours without a camera there is minuscule. And so
like one,
so we got to have like actual real conversations, and, like, I don't know. It was good. It was really good.
Well, I'm sure too that, at the beginning, these relationships, you're happy, you've met, but sometimes they don't always work out. And so you have to just work at it. Just because you've walked into somebody's house and said, hi, I'm your daughter that you didn't get to know, doesn't mean that relationship is going to work. And I don't, what I'm saying is,
like I don't know how to, I know Kacey knows too. Like it's like the beginning, right? The show is the beginning of a relationship.
Right.
The moments are real and they're raw and they're honest and all that kind of stuff, but it's the beginning of something, not, it's the beginning of a relationship forming.
Basically. Exactly.
Is it hard to, and maybe this is too personal, so if it is, just say no, we're not talking about this, but to integrate it with your adoptive family? Is there tension?
I'm gonna answer this one. So for a while, I only, and this is just full honesty, like for a month-ish or probably even longer, honestly, I had to take some time. Like I had to take some time. I was really, like, I was protective of my adoptive parents, very protective. Like they have been my adoptive parents my entire life. They're my parents, that's it. And so I was protective of their feelings. You know, I didn't want to hurt their feelings. I didn't want to be like, oh, I have my biological mom now. Like it was so hard to process. And like, how do I not step on her toes? But that was all in my brain really, because she's really, really supportive. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So that it was all like a mental mind game really, because she's super supportive and Robin like wants to meet my adoptive mom and like, I don't want to meet and hang out and like whatever. Like, it's just my own mind. And it still goes there sometimes because I'm very protective. My mom's my mom, you know?
Mm-hmm. That's beautiful. What about you, Kacey? Is that something you feel like you can answer? Would you like for us to move on?
No, that's fine. Yeah. So for me, it's interesting. So I think that it was easier for me to just be like, yeah, let's everyone hang out, like no big deal. Because I think I was just so excited. So like we had a premiere party and like some of my aunts and cousins showed up, and then like my mom and my sister showed up, you know, and so it was cool to see like my Aunt Jen and Aunt Lynette like kind of talking with, you know, my mom and my sister Robin, you know, and just talking to them about like, we had no idea, like, you know, and I'm sorry that my brother put you through that. So it was like kind of like a healing for them. My grandfather, I've hung out with him a couple of times, and he actually said, they actually, after the episode with Shaw, they said they couldn't watch it anymore because it's just, it's too hard on them because they feel this level of guilt, even though there's nothing they could have done, but you know, and then like my adoptive parents, they haven't watched it at all because they're very they're very reserved and very like, they don't like to, you know, emote, I guess. So like they don't like to, you know, deal with like conflicts and emotions, and so it's a little bit hard on them. So, and I understand that. So I never push it or anything, obviously, or be like, oh yeah, my family and stuff. But, you know, I just kind of have to watch a little bit about how I say things and whatnot. But we all have a wonderful relationship. And yeah, my mom, my biological mother wants to meet my adoptive mother and thank her. And my mom said that she would do that. She was like, yeah, that sounds nice sometimes. So we just have to figure out when that would be. She's ready. So
yeah. You guys, thank you so much for coming and sharing our stories. Is there anything else that you want, something that didn't get aired, something that you wanted to share, anything before we say goodbye? Is there anything else you'd like to say, or anything we didn't ask that you wish we had?
Anything, Monika? Are you good?
No, I don't think so. I just want to squash this black-green thing once for all. Like,
I know.
We are
we love each other.
Good friends, and like, I don't know, like. So
yeah, we text and we call each other often, and we're good friends. So
good. You need to, what you need to do is you need to go down to Hilton Head and get on the boat and put some pictures out that you guys are hanging out together on the boat.
I know.
Everybody will then calm down.
Yeah.
So Kacey, where do you live, Kacey?
I live in Ohio. Can you even see me?
Okay. Yeah, we can see you. We can see you.
Well, yeah, I was just wondering because I'm in Michigan. It's about the same amount of darkness. So I was.
I live in Northeast Ohio.
Okay.
And the poor girl's trying to get her shopping done, but she's jumping on to GenFriends.
Oh no, you're fine. No, you're fine. I will share something kind of fun with you guys though, because like they do like you know, you have like all the little like mini cameras, you know how sometimes you do like the nighttime shots and stuff. And they make you do that every night.
Yeah.
And they make you like record just in general like fun stuff. And I'm really hoping that they'll make us a bonus video, but I don't know if they will. But it was a great memory. So my brother's shawl, that was like the longest night ever. We didn't go to bed until like 2:00 in the morning. But Kevin, which is the little boy who cried over the Pokemon shirt.
Yes.
He is the sweetest little boy. Oh my gosh, I know, that was like, I was like dying, but like he just is so sweet. But anyhow, you know, they were obviously, all the kids were kind of, you know, obsessed because they were like, oh my gosh, we got a new aunt and uncle, oh my gosh, you know. And so they were trying to be like real proper and sweet, you know. And so we're hanging out in their house, and Kevin comes up to me and he goes, would you like a cup of tea? And I said, oh, sure. And he's like, okay. So he made it for me, and he asked how many scoops of sugar. And I said, oh, like 1 or 2 is fine, you know, nothing crazy. And then before it was done, we had to head over to the donut shop. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, I'll drink it when I get back. And he's like, okay, no problem. So we go and we come home, and it's like crazy late. It's like 10 or 11 o'clock at this point. We hadn't even had dinner yet. Like, we're dying and exhausted. And Kevin's like, are you going to drink your tea? Are you going to drink your tea? And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. You know, like just being sweet, you know, cause I mean, I have 3 kids. I know what it's like, you know, they get all excited about the little stuff. So he brings me this like plastic wine glass with, it was like hot tea, but obviously it had been sitting for like 4 hours. So it was cold tea, but then he stirred it up, and it was almost like this gelatinous goo. Like, it looked like really thick. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, yep, I put in what you asked for, 2 scoops. And I'm like, okay. And I looked over, and like their sugar containers are clear, but she has like a 1/3 cup measuring spoon in there. So he put in like a wine glass, like a 3-inch high wine glass, like 2/3 cups of sugar. And it was cold. And sitting there like all excited, like, yes, please, I'm so excited. And so I like took a sip of it, and I almost threw up. I was like, oh, it's so good. So I hugged him. And of course, you know, Felicia, which is Shaw's wife, she was like just recording the whole thing, just laughing, and I'm hugging and going, oh, thank you so much. And I'm looking at her going, no. Oh yeah, that was.
Oh, that's that was, how cute. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, there's
well, I'm gonna tell you what I told Anthony and Joseph last night, and that is to make sure you journal everything that happened on these days, because you're gonna forget. You're gonna think you're gonna always remember it, but like we told them, you know, you go back and look at those high school yearbooks, and you go, who are these people? all those people said we'll be friends forever, and you're like, oh, you are.
No.
So you lose things in your memory. You're going to remember the people that you met, but make sure you record the emotions and the little things like the sugar and the, you know, those kind of things that maybe didn't get on camera for you to go back and look at again. Just, you know, try to write those down so that you have them. And maybe you can ask those people that you met along the way if they would write down their thoughts and feelings as well, so that you have this.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
This journal to look back on and then be able to pass that down, you know, to future generations of your life story.
Yeah.
How you learned these things about yourself and had your questions answered. So that was my advice I gave them, and that's the advice I'm giving you, is to write it down.
And the rest of us all agree.
Yeah. Can you tell we're genealogists and family historians? Yep. Thank you guys, both of you. Thank you so much for coming and joining us. We just have really, I can't believe this season is over already. It seems like you get to the start of it and you're like, oh, we got 10 days, and next thing you know, it's over. So we appreciate you being here. And we hope we get to talk to you again. And we hope that you'll keep us posted on what's going on. So we will say bye. And Kacey, I know you're still there.
I'm like, go Team Black, the whole street.
She did this on purpose. Go Team Black. I'm here. And we will see you next time on GenFriends. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah.